Hello, Rochester. We are back for yet another edition of What's Going On. This is Ryan Verneuille, and unfortunately, the great Nate Brown Jr. is not here today, but Greg Vaughn is here as always, MLB All-Star, and one of our wonderful crew members of the past, I don't know, at least 10 to 20 years, the great historian Joseph Hill, is here to talk about all types of things in baseball. Fellas, how are you on this wonderful Sunday morning?
Hey, I woke up this morning. It's a good day.
Hey, I know I just had a birthday. I feel the same way, Joe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I live to see another birthday and woke up this morning, just got back off the road, the mid Penn event in Hershey, Pennsylvania, for, trying to raise money for cancer. So yeah, it's been a good week so far. Got to see a lot of the fellas and it's a little humid on the East Coast, man. Woo. It's glad to be back in Vegas.
Hey,
I bet it is
and
humid.
belated happy birthday, man.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Serious humidity here in the Hamptons where I sit. It must be nice to be in that dry heat in the West Coast. But Rochester, we know that you're probably not dealing with any heat at all. In fact, I bet that those clouds are starting to form. The snow is starting to come in. But hey, we are here and standing. And what a great MLB All Star weekend. So a tie game that ended in a swing off. I mean, what are your thoughts, guys, about the swing off in general?
Well, for me, I think that was something that brought some type of excitement to the game. For years, they've been knocking on it a little bit, and that was they kept the fans and the audience and the TV audience engaged. I thought it was good for baseball. I think they are not just doing what they want to do now. I think they're listening to what viewers and the people want, and that's always a good thing. Especially for that game, right? We're there for that game, and it's like customer service. Like going it. We got to listen to the people, and we got to keep them engaged and keep them excited, and to see Swerber do what he did, that was a good thing. And the All Star game means something now. Now National League has home field advantage in the World Series, so the games are big and they mean something. So, touche to MLB for doing it right this time.
I will say I was a little upset we didn't get to see Aaron Judge or the big dumper out there because, like you said, there's significance now to winning the All Star game. So not to knock the other guys out there, but you think they would have put our best home run hitters out there.
See, that's coming from a Yankee fan. You just wanted to see your guy. You know what I mean? And I think the big dumper was a little tired from winning the home run derby. So I think it is what it is. It ended the way it was supposed to end. And yeah, if I'm especially if I'm Booney or something, if I'm a Yankees guy, I know I want my top dogs up there because that game 7 is big. Home field advantage. Game 1, game 2 is big. You set the tone, so it does mean something. But National League has it.
And what do you think about this, Joe? I mean, you've seen it all years
So,
before, Greg, as a
yeah,
journalist.
although I agree with Brother Vaughn about everything he just said, I also am taking a kind of a curmudgeon viewpoint on the way All Star games are now, and I think what really hurt competition in All Star games now is interleague play. So All Star games used to really be competitive when there wasn't interleague play. That whole which league is better rivalry type thing. And I'm going to refer to two things to kind of illustrate real quickly, to illustrate the rivalry of the old All Star games. One was, and I just got through looking at this film. Greg, I'm sure you've seen it a
P Rose.
dozen times. Ted Williams, ninth inning home run, 1941 All Star game. When he runs around, when he's clapping, and if you know anything about Ted Williams, he wasn't demonstrative at all, but he was really excited to end that game with a home run. And I also thought about 1941. I was like, why were they playing an All Star game in the middle of World War II? But All-Star game was in June. U.S. entered World War II December 7th, 1941. So there, our involvement in World War II hadn't begun yet. The
Wow.
second one, though, was and I remember seeing this live. And Greg, I know you remember this one vividly. Was when Pete Rose bowled over Ray Fosse from Cleveland Indians to win the game. It was a tie game. Pete never apologized. Pete was like, "That's the way I was taught to play the game." There were many people who said, "Well, it was a meaningless game in many ways." And actually, I don't know if you know this, Ryan. Ray Fosse was never the same. Literally,
That's right.
ruined his career. He was an all-star catcher. He was never the same when he got almost basically knocked out by Pete Rose at home plate. So I agree with everything you just said, Greg, and I'm glad that they added, the home run competition at the end of the game because it does give competition back to that all-star format.
Definitely.
And guys have pride too. So once you get to that point and it's a tie game, the guys that are going up there, it means a lot to them. You don't want to be that dude that doesn't get it done, right? You,
Right.
you definitely don't want to be that guy. So, like I said, hats off to Kyle Schwarber, National League. They did what they had to do. And, he took advantage of his opportunities and he was the MVP. I mean, that's just the way the ball bounces. I was listening to what you said, Joe. I think it is ironic and it does make sense, but how can you do South America against the rest of the world? Because that's what it's going to take. Because I think over 50% of the players or 50% of the players are from South America, and you would need the rest of the world. So that is the USA and, you know, so forth. But I mean, that's the only way you could to make it really mean something, I guess, you know, or you do it like the Four Nations did in
In
you know, you
hockey.
know, you know yeah, in hockey. But it's tough to do that in the middle of the season because you got
Right.
you coming off this All Star break.
Right.
Now the season season starts yesterday. You know what I mean?
No,
So
and Greg, I think you put it, considering, like I said, interleague play somewhat, not somewhat, kill that competition. So how do you build it back up? You said it best. Somehow Major League Baseball came up with something to make the end of that game interesting, especially if it's a tie. Because you don't want to be like soccer. I'm sorry, soccer fans out there, but Americans can't stand ties, so we're not going to tolerate a damn tie. So I'm glad that's what they came up with.
And one more little fun fact here: Kyle Schwarber became the first non-pitcher MVP without any hits at regulation, and the first Phillies All-Star MVP since 1964. So it does show the significance of the swing off. I mean, he did win the game. So that being said, this was also the first time we got to see the ABS system rolled out here with the pros. What do you guys think about it?
Which worked. I thought it worked well.
people are getting exposed now. You know what I mean? It's it's. I thought it was okay. I like the fact of having a human element, but I don't like the fact of where to me where the parity wasn't right. It was always the haves that got that special call. It was never the have-nots. So I think you know maybe this corrects that. But I don't want baseball to get away from some part of the human element because that's what makes it special. Being able to have a bang bang call. You know what I mean? Not a delayed call, a bang bang call. And, sometimes guys get it right, sometimes they don't. But for the most part, I think with, technology, AI, and the way the world's moving, there will never be another foul ball called fair again. You know what I mean? With the way the innovation of technology, I think uh baseball's getting it right, but there's something about that human element. It's something about being able to argue with this dude and he kicks you out, and you know, having your emotions and being able to express them in a non-compliant way or a combative way. You know what I mean? So for me, I think it was pretty good, but at the same time, is baseball ready just to do away with umpires? Period.
Here's an interesting thing, though. I don't know how much you guys watch tennis, but tennis has had that type of technology for a long time. Um, Granted, like you said, I think taking umpires away from the calls takes the tradition away from the human tradition away from baseball. But it is interesting that like I said, tennis has done that for years and gotten away with it. But two different sports.
And I guess we're gonna have to see soon. It might just be like arguing with Chat GPT. There's that chance that the future of baseball are humans fighting with robots.
Yeah, that's hard to do. I mean, the robot's probably a little smarter. He's gonna stay calm. The Gronk app, Gronk might be you might be able to pick a fight with Gronk though. You know what I mean?
Certain ones. I can't wait till we got robots stopping the fans from interfering. So there's no more Austin Panabiancos ripping the balls from Mookie Betts' hands and things of that nature. Have a nice robot smack one of the fans. This is what's going on Fox Sports 1280. Greg Vaughn, Joseph Hill, and Ryan Verneuille here. We'll be back. Don't go nowhere. And we have returned. You're listening to Fox Sports Radio right here in the great city of Rochester. This is Ryan Verneuille with Joseph Hill and, of course, MLB legend Greg Vaughn. And there's just so much to talk about in the world of baseball, especially without Hate Brown Jr. around to hate on my Yanks. Because, that's all he's doing these days. I got my nice new Yankees hat here. So, man, I tell you, a lot is going on. The second half is finally here. I want to ask you guys this. Who do you think is going to get moved or at this point in the season?
Oh, Suarez. Eugenio Suarez. Everybody wants him. Everybody needs a third baseman all of a sudden. Well, a lot of teams do. And he's a home run hitting dude. So I think he's the first guy on the list.
There's reports, Joe. Right now, the Seattle Mariners and the New York Yankees are putting together offers for him as we speak. So by the time that this show airs, who knows? He might already be gone.
It could happen. It could happen. And I heard, and his counterpart across the diamond too, Josh Naylor. He's another one. People need a first baseman.
Yeah.
With some thump and some toughness, and he fills that void. So I think there's a lot of options that can happen. It's gonna be interesting to see what really goes down. And the Yankees need starting pitching too. So they're Boston needs a couple starters. There's some guys fighting for some starting pitchers, and who knows what Arizona's team is going to look like, but Arizona started playing well. So this is another thing. Are they buyers or are they sellers now?
Yeah.
It's a good question.
And my
I think
Cubs need starters. I'm sorry, guys, but I'm from Chicago.
and they're doing great. We talked about the Cubs a little bit last week. I know Joe said I was, what did you say the word was?
Regionally biased.
Regionally biased. I've been called biased for a lot of reasons in life. And yes, I suppose that last week we were a little bit regionally biased, but the Cubs, man, they're looking really nice. And I think that right now, as of today, it's the highest chance, a team with the highest chance of going to the playoffs.
Well, Detroit's got the best record in baseball, though.
That's true.
And they're buyers also. The thing about the Cubs, where me and you last week, Ryan, you were talking about them moving Tucker. I said, there's no way. They got to sign him to an extension. And like I said, they're leading the division. So, I mean, they definitely are buyers. They are trying to get back to that World Series. And, that sports town, that's one of the best in the world, man, along with your New York. Yes, you guys are. But I can't forget my Milwaukee and San Diego, too. You know what I mean? Great sports towns also. So I think it's going to be interesting. No one's playing better than the Brewers. The Reds are turning around at the right time. Seattle is clicking. You know what I mean? It's Boston. I mean, they just snapped a 10 game winning streak. So I think there's a lot of buyers, but is there enough people to complete the puzzle? You know what I mean? Who's going to come out on top? That's the thing. Who's going to give away those top prospects and those big chips to try to win a chip? You know what I mean? So I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, and back to Suarez. Whoever wants that edge in the second half of the season, he's the guy that can give it to you. One of the guys.
That's right. And as we speak, gentlemen, there are 24 teams within 6 games of playoff spots. So we're going to see some movements. That right there's
movement. You are going to see some movement, but out of those 24 teams, how many are sellers? I think it comes down to like I said, the pieces of the puzzle. Who's willing to give up those pieces to try to, try to get maybe not my my big fish, but my second and third fish. You know what I mean? Because there's some teams that are definitely that are close, but they know they're not going to be there this year. They're going to set themselves up to try to, you know, be a contender in the next 1 or 2 years. And perfect example: Soto trade. Look at Wood. Look at the shortstop. I mean, they set themselves up to be. They got two corner pieces for a long time. You know what I mean? That's their franchise. So I think the Nationals did it right. Now everyone else is saying, how do we get those type of pieces?
Well, I mean, one of the keys to all of this, Greg and Ryan, is you don't want to give away too much. You don't want to give away, and because it's a gamble. If you give away like too many good young players, then you've hurt your farm system and you've hurt your future.
Yes, I mean it's the guys. It's the big guys though, Joe. Joe, it's New York, both New York teams. It's the Dodgers who are always right there. I think San Diego's right there. They're always going to be there. It's the big fish. They'll deplete that farm system to win yesterday. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, and you throw in Chicago, and like I said, I think Detroit. Detroit's going to go all in too. But like, I agree with you. You don't want to get this or let this be another OKC, where OKC has 12 first round draft picks every year for the next 10 years. You know what I mean? Because all the trades that they made.
yeah,
And if you're a team like the Dodgers, I guess the prospects don't matter as much. You got, I think it's, I don't know, I'm probably going to butcher his name, but Hong Sung Kim. He's been great.
yeah.
They can just sign people from foreign lands that are going to come in and just smoke baseballs.
Hey, but you hear the little bit, hear the anger in his voice because this was the Yankees for 30 something, 50 years every year, and he's been on this kick all year about the Dodgers. It's not fair what the Dodgers are doing. The Yankees did this to baseball. I mean, I played 15 years. They did it all 15 years I played. They've been doing this for 100 years. You know what I mean? And now you get to see what it feels like to necessarily not be the top dog.
Now I need to know, Greg, how would your attitude be toward the Yankees if that trade went through? I don't know if we ever really talk about this, but you almost became a New York Yankee in 1997.
Yes,
Did
I
your
did.
attitude shift for a moment, or were you still those damn Yankees?
Well, I think being a California kid and going back to San Diego, I think it was it was bittersweet because of course, I mean that's the greatest franchise. I think one of them in sports, right? So
It
to be able
was.
to put to be able to put those pinstripes on and hear that hear the right field bleachers do what they do, and I never played for a big market. I mean, who knows the opportunities it might have led to? Who knows to the career it might have ended up being? Playing in a big market like that. But I think the guy upstairs doesn't make mistakes. I was able to come back the next year and hit 2 home runs in Game 1 of the World Series there in Yankee Stadium. Hit 50 home runs and get San Diego to its second World Series. So I think the only mistake he made was Richie Garcia not calling Tino Martinez strike three on that, on that curveball from Mark Langston. So with that being said, Tino did what he did, ultimate pro. He lived to see another pitch and he did what he was supposed to do with it. You know what I mean? And it's just bad that we didn't ever got another run. That's the part that hurts the most. That same team, best record in baseball, and then we don't even get a chance to get another run. That's the part that stings.
Definitely. Even back in the day, as a fan of you, I was pissed to not see another San Diego Padres run. Just not fair. Now I know if there was the ABS system, we might not be talking about this amazing dynasty. You never
Hey,
know.
yeah, but that's part of the human element. The ball. My old college coach at Miami, Ron Frazier, said, "I'd rather be lucky than good." Jerry Weinstein, another one of my coaches, and you put the hay in the barn, but you also need a little luck, right?
Right.
What a great saying. Rather be lucky than good. I've
Well,
never
I
heard
tell
that.
you, if you look at championships in any sport, baseball, basketball, whatever, there's always that element of luck.
It's
Yep,
part of the game.
it is part of the game. It's just you hope you're on the side of luck.
Here's the
So
thing, though. In order to get the luck to win, you have to put yourself in that
You,
position.
there you go. You got to put yourself in position to be able to to be able to receive that good fortune, right?
Right. So that's
Hence the
back to
saying.
playing, winning baseball, basketball, whatever, is being in that position.
Yes, sir.
So there is no such thing as luck. If you really think about it, it takes the hard work to get lucky. Well, maybe not always. We've
Well,
seen.
no, I think
Maybe
there,
not
I
with
think
certain
there's
things.
luck. I think
It's
there's a
definitely
lot
about
of
luck.
luck out there. But you think about it, the good players, they always are in position to receive that luck, right? Not saying there's not luck out there, and there's no compensation for hard work and grinders and ultimate professional because there's a lot of people there that, you take me coming out of my neighborhood. I probably wasn't the best, but somebody liked me that didn't like somebody else out of my neighborhood. So I had a little bit of luck to go with it. You know what I mean? Being at the right place at the right time, having the right people believe in you. So when I say luck, I'm talking about a lot of different variables of it.
Well, but once again, you have the talent to reap the benefits.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So to kind of wrap things up, fellas, there's all these great arms that are available now at the deadline. Is there one trade for the good of baseball? Let's put our bias to the side. I know it's crazy to hear me say it, but if there's one trade for the good of baseball so we can see the best postseason, what would it be? We got Alcantara, right? In Miami. Joe Ryan, allegedly on the trade block in Minnesota. Even Framber Valdez. Some say maybe on the trade block because, the Astros might not want to retain him. So is there a gem that you think will be the difference maker so that we can say that we had a GM of the year move made at the trade deadline?
Well, I think first of all, you have to it depends on what situation they go to, because that's the key. Every trade's not going to, just because the GM makes a trade doesn't mean they're going to benefit.
Right.
Being able to get in the right system, being able to, to adapt really quickly, feel comfortable walking in that clubhouse, right? Take Soto, sign in as a free agent. Took him a little while to get going, but you're hoping, what do you have? 68 games left. You know what I mean? You don't have that type of time right now. It's go mode. So whoever they trade for, especially a starting pitcher, every fifth day he's gonna have to take the ball and be ready to go. Who knows if Baltimore is gonna be sellers? I mean, Arizona has two or three guys that they can sell. They have a first baseman, a third baseman, and three starting pitchers that might move. Houston just got a little bit of bad luck right before the break. Otherwise, they had to be buyers.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They had to be buyers.
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't think Houston's that far. They're not looking at it as they're not trying to compete. So once again, everyone's available. It just depends on the piece of the puzzle.
And
Well,
Houston is well known for their trade deadline greatness. I mean, Verlander put them over the edge. What was it 2017? That was one of the miracle moves. But that being said, it's time to go to a quick break. We've got commercials to run. We've got more to discuss. And if you want more of Joseph Hill, he can be found at Official Black Truth on Instagram. And we've got a great documentary that's coming out about the Black Civil War soldiers. There's just so much info, so much great content on the RyanShow.net about Mr. Joseph Hill. This is Fox Sports 1280 Rochester, and we'll be back soon.